Chris Hemsworth is one of Hollywood's biggest stars, but how much do you really know about him? From almost losing Thor to surviving on just 500 calories a day, and even secretly playing a second MCU character, these are 10 surprising facts about Chris Hemsworth that most fans have never heard. Chris Hemsworth's legendary Thor workout has become one of the most searched fitness routines online, and for good reason. To achieve his godlike physique, Hemsworth committed to intense, sweat-inducing training focused on strength, power, and definition, building those iconic arms and broad shoulders that define the character. While his workouts have stayed tough, his diet has evolved over the years. Originally fueling up on massive steaks, chicken, and broccoli, Hemsworth has since shifted to a more plant-based approach, helping him feel stronger, leaner, and more energized. The combination of relentless training and smarter nutrition continues to keep him in peak superhero shape. Chris Hemsworth nearly became a G.I. Joe, but losing that role changed everything. Before the Marvel fame and Asgardian hammer, Hemsworth was a broke, high school dropout trying to help his family. He auditioned hard for G.I. Joe, desperate for a win, and lost the role to Channing Tatum. At the time, it crushed him. He was nearly out of money and feeling the pressure to support his parents. But missing that part opened the door to something bigger, Thor. If Hemsworth had suited up for G.I. Joe, he might never have picked up Mjolnir, and the MCU would have looked very different. Chris Hemsworth secretly played more than just Thor in the MCU, and he did it right next to Taika Waititi. During Thor's time as a gladiator on Sakaar, one of the enslaved fighters is a massive three-headed warrior named Hajo. Each head belongs to a different person. The center face is stuntman Shane Rangi, while the two side faces are Hemsworth and Waititi themselves. The character is later freed and joins the Revengers during the battle for Asgard. The cameo is brief, and Hajo dies shortly after, but it gives Hemsworth a second MCU role hiding in plain sight. Chris Hemsworth almost turned down the role that reshaped his entire career. When he was offered Thor, the excitement came with a catch, a 6-picture deal. At the time, he was used to long commitments from working on an Australian soap opera, but signing on for that many major films felt overwhelming. Both he and his agent seriously considered passing on the offer because the commitment sounded too big. The hesitation came from worrying it was all too much, too fast. Eventually, he decided to ignore those doubts and accept the role, a choice that took him from a relatively unknown actor to the face of one of Marvel's biggest heroes. Chris Hemsworth didn't just become a superhero, he rewrote how Hollywood saw him. Cast from relative obscurity to lead Thor, Hemsworth went from Australian soap fame to starring alongside major Hollywood veterans. The role turned him into an in-demand movie star and opened the door to big-budget leading roles across the industry. But Thor didn't just elevate his action hero status. With the shift in tone introduced in Thor Ragnarok, Hemsworth revealed a side audiences hadn't seen before. His performance established him as a capable comedic lead, proving he wasn't limited to muscles and mythology, and permanently expanding the kind of roles he could land. Chris Hemsworth took a big risk playing a god, and it paid off in a huge way. When he returned for Thor, Love and Thunder, Hemsworth reportedly earned $20 million up front. That's especially notable considering how uncertain things were at the start. Thor was the least known Avenger to mainstream audiences and came with a highly fantastical story. Over time, Hemsworth helped turn the character into a major MCU staple, even leading 4 solo films. By the 4th installment, his journey from relatively unknown actor to top-tier Marvel star was matched by a massive paycheck. Chris Hemsworth may play Thor, but he actually wasn't excited about constantly taking his shirt off in the movies. While filming Thor: The Dark World, Hemsworth questioned why a topless scene was even necessary after being told to remove his shirt. Despite his hesitation, the scene still ended up showing off Thor's famous physique. The same thing happened again during Thor: Ragnarok. Hemsworth was originally happy that his character stayed fully clothed throughout the film, but director Taika Waititi later decided the movie needed more eye candy. Once again, Hemsworth ended up shirtless on screen, even though it wasn't something he was pushing to do himself. Chris Hemsworth went from playing a powerful superhero to surviving on what sounds like a snack tray. For in the heart of the sea, Hemsworth needed to look like a shipwrecked sailor slowly wasting away after being stranded at sea. To make that happen, he lost 33 pounds in just 1 month on a 500-calorie-a-day diet. The challenge was even tougher because filming continued while the cast was losing weight. Hemsworth later revealed that food became the main topic of conversation on set. Some days, the entire ration was just a boiled egg, a couple of crackers, and a celery stick, along with vegetable soup and salad. Chris Hemsworth went from playing one of Hollywood's biggest superheroes to being called the weakest part of a major movie flop. In 2015, Hemsworth starred in Black Hat as hacker Nicholas Hathaway, but audiences largely stayed away. The film earned only $19.6 million against a $70 million budget, making it a major box office disappointment. Critics were especially tough on Hemsworth's performance, with reviews singling him out as the film's biggest problem. What made the story even more surprising is that Hemsworth later agreed with much of the criticism, admitting he didn't enjoy what he did in the movie and felt the performance came across as flat. Chris Hemsworth auditioned to play Captain Kirk, but one detail kept him from getting the role. Hemsworth entered the casting process after his performance in the independent film Cash earned him an audition for Kirk. He didn't land the part, but J.J. Abrams remembered him later while searching for someone to play George Kirk, the father of Chris Pine's character. Abrams reportedly recalled that guy who came in that was too tall and brought Hemsworth back for another audition. This time, things went very differently. Hemsworth was offered the role on the spot, turning a failed Kirk audition into a memorable appearance in Star Trek.